Here's why I think you should be a little bit crazy at the beginning of your relationship. About 6 or 7 months into the last relationship I was in, I remember telling him that I loved him unconditionally and that he could do anything and I would still love him. I don't want to hear it. What he said in response was, "I know, that's why I love you." What has stuck with me for a little bit now is the "I know" part. Because I know exactly when he first realized that he literally could do anything and I would stay. In January, I found a Polaroid, and I'm not really going to get into it because that's not my point, but I found a Polaroid of him. Point was, I found a Polaroid and it was of him, and it was something that made me uncomfortable, obviously. But when I confronted him about it, I mean, obviously I was like, this is not okay, and I was upset, but I forgave him very quickly. I was determined to not be the stereotypical crazy girlfriend. Point was, I never really set boundaries in that relationship. I sort of did, and then let him cross it. I would bring stuff up and he would blow it off, or he would do things that hurt, and I was like, I had to take it, because what else was I gonna do? Point was, he got used to very quickly the fact that he could do anything and I would still love him. But the truth of every interpersonal relationship that you have is if they notice and realize that you have no respect for yourself, they won't develop any kind of respect for you. And not setting boundaries in a relationship never makes the relationship better. It only benefits the other person who can get away with more things. But also, if setting boundaries translates to being crazy to the other person, run the fuck away. Because I will rather forever be the crazy girlfriend than the disrespected one. Anyways, never again.
Ready with me while I tell you the story of how my parents were flying to New York City on September 11th. Yes, so back in 2001, my dad had booked a Slim Fast commercial. Yes, a Slim Fast commercial. He loved Slim Fast, which so did I. I would often steal the shakes out of the fridge. And he lost over 100 pounds drinking Slim Fast. Yes, he had written into Slim Fast and they chose him to... Anyways, I guess he had written in and was chosen to be a part of their next commercial campaign. So Slim Fast was flying him out to New York City to film a commercial. So my parents left early that morning to make their flight. At this time, we lived in bumfuck Hinton, Oklahoma. So really small town, middle of nowhere. So they left early to make their flight at the airport. My grandparents came and stayed with us, and my sister and I went to school like normal. Heard this story a million times, yet I don't know every single detail down to the exact fact, but basically they were either on the plane waiting for it to take off or they had to land. And at this time, we know there were cell phones, but they were nowhere near what they were now. You weren't, dialing up the internet on your cell phone. So all the information they were receiving were either from people that could get phone calls to their phone on the tarmac or from flight attendants that were hearing it from their other flight attendant friends. Meanwhile, my sister and I have been checked out of school. I'm in kindergarten, she's in 2nd grade, and we are sitting at home watching this all play out on TV. And at the time, of course, cell phones are not really working, so my grandparents are trying to get a hold of my mom and dad, but all they know is that my mom and dad were flying to New York City that day and they can't get a hold of them. So my mom and dad sit on the plane on the tarmac for several hours until they're finally let off the plane into the airport, and all they can hear over the PA system is just everyone exit the airport immediately. And my mom said that she vividly remembers, and this always sticks out to me for some reason, a lady of Asian descent who is just standing in the middle of the airport with all of these bags, all of her family's bags, just seeing all of these people running and not understanding what the PA system is saying, what's happening, just sobbing. Ubers were not a thing at this time either, so my mom says they get outside of the airport and they are just pushing people into taxis and making them go because they didn't know what was the next target, what might happen next, if it was going to be an airport, what was going on. So you basically got in a cab with as many people as you could fit and you were off. Taxi takes them and some other people to the nearest hotel to the airport, and then it's at this hotel that they are told you're going to have to bunk up with other families. We are just trying to put as many people in a room as we can. Luckily, my mom and dad got a room by themselves. But they were oblivious to the situation, as was everyone. No one really knew the severity. And they were like, oh, we'll just get on a flight tonight or tomorrow. It'll be no big deal. Turns out it was, in fact, a very big deal. During this whole process, they meet another very nice couple who's actually was from the same town that we now live in, small world. And they offered them train tickets. They're like, hey, we got 2 train tickets and we're going home. Once again, my parents are like, it's fine, we're just gonna fly home. It's not a big deal, not knowing flights were grounded for many days afterwards. So they're like, just give those 2 extra tickets you have to someone else and we're gonna fly home. They finally realize eventually they're not gonna get out of there on an airplane anytime soon. So they end up sharing a rental car with another woman who's going to St. Louis, I believe. So through that rental car, they finally make it home. Turns out the 2 tickets they denied for the train ended up being sold to... That's a story for another time. No. Bye.
I just had the worst first date of my life. I figure I'm just gonna tell you what happened and then we're gonna try and work our way back from there. My date invited myself along with 2 other women so that he could speed up the process of finding his perfect 3-way. I met this guy on a dating app and I feel like by all reasonable measures, he was pretty much just your average guy. Literally nothing in his profile could have prepared me for what was to come. We agreed to meet at this Italian restaurant that's about 15 minutes away from my house. So I show up in my Uber and I'm probably like 10 minutes early because I just usually show up early to things. I don't know. When I get there, he's standing outside the restaurant and I recognize him from his profile. So at least he's not a catfish. You know, we say hi to each other and then he's just like, okay, let's go inside and grab our table. He made a reservation, so the table was ready right when we got there. So at least that was nice. They bring us to our table and they seat us at this 4-top, which honestly isn't that weird if you think about it. We're really only sitting there for like maybe 2 minutes before this girl walks up, who I think at the time is just the waitress. But no, and you already know what's coming. She kind of just looks at me funny and then introduces herself just casually and I'm like, oh hi, like I'm Megan. And as she's sitting down, the next girl walks up. So all the girls are just introducing each other and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He's just sitting there like completely fucking fine. And then she goes, oh, so like, how do you know so-and-so? As in the guy. I'm just not gonna say his name because honestly, you know what? I should fucking say his name. Matthew. It was Matthew. And I'm like, oh, I actually don't really. This is our first date. So naturally, my next question is, oh, well, how do you know Matthew? He looks me dead in the eyes and goes, I thought this was our first date. Yeah. I just thought that these other 2 girls were friends that he knew that were around. Maybe he invited. I don't know. People are weird. But no, he'd scheduled this date at the same time with all 3 of us to meet at this place. And why, you might ask? Well, you're probably not asking because I already told you he was trying to speed up his process of finding the perfect 3-way. We all left.
Drama that starts because of school dances is like a whole nother level of drama. So here's how my homecoming went. This drama started weeks in advance. I swear, I'm not gonna say names, but I'm just sick of holding back. Basically, this girl that was like in our friend group had been asking each one of us every single day what our plans for homecoming were. Like, we did not know. Like, literally none of us knew until like a week before what we were doing. I don't know if she thought we were like keeping it a secret, but we literally were just winging it. Like, we did not know. Anyway, we like get added to this group chat and she starts like making plans with everyone, but like we literally don't have plans. And like usually I make the plans. Like, I did not care. I told her that we would let her know and then she gave me some like snotty remark. I don't even know. Anyway, like, fast forward, she ends up making plans with other people before we even make our plans. So, like, cool, whatever, okay. And, like, what's weird is this girl would sit by me, like, every single day, and then all of a sudden she just goes, like, no contact. Like, doesn't even look at me, doesn't even talk to me, goes sits by other people. I was like, what is going on? And then, like, in the meantime, I swear all the homecoming groups are, like, getting mixed up. Like, a girl left ours to go to a different group. Like, I don't know. It was so complicated. Anyway, then I hear this person is, like, talking smack about our friend group. Like, saying stuff that's not true at all. Saying there was, like, a vote to get her out of the friend group. Like, I literally, none of this even happened. Like, this is so fictional. Like, no one has even thought twice or talked about anything that has gone on, but apparently it's, like,
a big deal. I don't even know. Okay, I'm not saying this in any specific context, but you know people that just throughout the years have literally put themselves into the worst situations, like themselves, like done it to themselves, and now they're at the point where just like no one's on their side. And like, what are we supposed to do about that, you know? And I try so hard to be nice to people like that. Like, I really try. And then if it comes back on me that I have been, like, a bad person or something like that, when I've literally done nothing but give people chances and chances again and again, that's where I draw the line. Anyway, here's the best part. So this person in her group makes reservations at the same place we make our reservations. Like, I just find it weird how people in that group were, like, going somewhere else, and then I found out she made them where we were. Like, I don't even care anymore. I'm just at a point in my life where, like, I'm not gonna deal with things, but, like, when parents start getting involved for no reason, like, what is going on? Like, literally none of us have done anything wrong, and it's just, like, weird. Like, I have no idea what's being said. No one's saying anything, and it's just, like, this big thing for, like, what? Anyway, we get to the dance. I'm having a great time, whatever. Me and my friend are planning on going to this party, like, in a different city, town, wherever. But in case that went downhill, my friend was supposed to be asking if I could get into this other party, but, like, it was too late. I don't even know. I don't know. Couldn't get in, wasn't invited. I don't really care. Like, it's fine. No hard feelings. Whatever. But then, like, as I expected, plans with the other town, like, fell through. So here you have my whole entire friend group going to this one party, and then me and my best friend, Lakely, just chilling here, like, what are we supposed to do? So that just put a damper on my mood. Like, I was not in a good mood. So me and my one friend went to Taco Bell. Like, I was literally crying. And then my friend group says they're not even going to the party anyway. So, like, all that for, like, what? Anyway, so I go back and pick up Lakely, and we go to her house and spend the night. We're both, like, not in a good mood, like, at all. But I need more bronzer. But, like, I woke up this morning with texts that, like, apparently there were, like, cops and, like, people got in trouble. Like, I don't even know. So, like, I guess good thing we didn't go. But, yeah, me and Lakely just got back from going downtown. We got breakfast. We took pictures. Like, we had a great morning. But, yeah, basically homecoming was fun. There was just a lot of drama. And I feel like every friend group right now is, like, falling apart. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, we're seniors. Like, everyone is at the point where just no one gives a crap about anything. Everyone is, like, chill with each other. But there's, like, those, like, few handful of people that are, like, still not at that level. And, like, create problems for what? I don't know. But I'm living life to the fullest right now. I'm trying my hardest. So, yeah, I'm gonna go to the mall. So, hopefully you guys have a good day. Peace out. Love you. Let me know if you want any more interesting story times. Bye.
Get ready with me while I share my most embarrassing dating story. This embarrassing story happened with my husband, so obviously things are okay. I'm kind of sure every girl has one of these stories, but I'm hoping it didn't involve your boyfriend. This was a couple months into Sam and I dating, so we were pretty comfortable around each other. Now, obviously still not like on this basis, like that usually takes a minute. We're hanging out. Really, we were making out. I feel like I shared this in my first kiss story, but we'd like to go drive to like lookout points and get in the back of Sam's truck and make out. So we were doing that. Like in the middle of the day, we skipped class, just kissing in the back seat, and then we were just like hanging out and chatting and cuddling, and I was kind of like sitting on his lap, talking, and then we're like, okay, we should probably go. What's weird about this is I did not notice this happening at all when it was happening. I didn't feel it, which usually I do. Let me backtrack. It's like springtime. I was wearing some cute light tan shorts. I am wearing white shorts. We get up, decide to leave, and as I'm like hopping off his lap and climbing out of the truck, I look down at his pants and I had bled on his tan shorts. A circle this big. I'm mortified. I watched Sam see it and he was kind of just like, And then I just start bawling. Like, I don't say a word. I just start hysterically crying. I was like, ah! Sam, poor Sam. Didn't know what to do with himself, but he also handled it so well for being like a 17-year-old boy. He was like, it's okay, don't worry about it. Like, it's okay, let's just take you home. So, but what was funny is I could tell he was like pretty sicked out by it, but he was being very nice. And like, he was just like, it's okay, don't worry. Like, didn't want to touch it, didn't want to look at it, nothing. I'm crying. I get in the front seat. He's like, don't worry, let's take you home. So he drives me home. I'm crying. Like, we still haven't talked about it. I'm just like an emotional wreck. Didn't even like feel it. Like, usually I feel like when I bleed through something, I could feel it. I get to my house, I am just still crying. He's like, don't worry about it, I'm just gonna go home. So he races home. Tells me this too after he doesn't even touch it. He's like, I had to take off my pants and I was like trying so hard not to like touch it. It's so funny though, because now like when we talk back about it, it's just so funny how he's like, oh my gosh, I tried to play it so cool, but I was like, whoa, what is happening? He changes his pants, he comes back to my house like literally within 15 minutes and then hung out for the rest of the day. And I mean, some guys would have been like, okay, that's a deal breaker for me, but Sam was just like, I mean, he was definitely like, whoa, this is weird, because that had never happened to him. We're still pretty fresh. So it's not like I told him like, oh, I'm on my period right now. And then eventually, of course, we got to that point. But that really broke things in for us. And honestly, it was one of the reasons why I like fell in love with Sam so quickly, is he was just so cool. So just, I don't know, down to earth and awesome about everything. Yeah, it was super embarrassing. He was just so cool about it. It was just like, whatever. That after that, honestly, nothing embarrassed me in front of him. Like, every girl has some sort of like period bleed through story. And that was my first and only. And it was on my boyfriend. So that was pretty rough. But luckily it was with Sam, because I think if it had been anyone else, it would have been terrible.